You ever look at an old American building, really look at it, and feel like the paperwork came from one world and the stone came from another? I'm not saying anyone lied, I'm just saying, when you read the records and then look at the buildings themselves, something doesn't line up. And maybe that's the part history hopes you don't stare at too long. San Francisco City Hall, 1899, was once the largest civic building west of the Mississippi. Then came the 1906 earthquake. The dome collapsed, walls split. Columns failed. Engineers studying the ruins said something shocking. The design drawings do not reflect the actual construction. Meaning, materials used were different thicknesses, didn't match the plans, structural connections were undocumented. A building that existed on paper didn't match the building that stood in reality. Why would that happen? Because whoever drafted the drawings wasn't the one who understood the construction. Federal Hall, now in downtown Manhattan, has one of the strangest paper trails in American architecture. According to the official narrative, the original Federal Hall, 1730, was demolished. A new Greek Revival building opened in 1842, designed by Town and Davis. But the stonework tells a different story. The marble basement shows chisel marks inconsistent with 19th century American techniques. The columns are Doric, but shaped with a precision resembling European quarry work from the early 1800s. So we have a building that's too advanced for its date, too European for its location, and too expensive for its budget. Historians call it the finest example of Greek Revival architecture in the US. I call it a building with selective amnesia. The Fairmount Waterworks, 1812 to 1876, is one of the earliest industrial sites in America. But stylistically, it looks like Greece moved to Pennsylvania stone temples, Ionic columns, a neoclassical rotunda, pediments carved with European precision and hydraulic engineering. America supposedly didn't master until decades later, yet the earliest engineering drawings in the Philadelphia archives show only hydraulic systems, not the architectural detailing actually visible on the buildings. It's like the architecture appeared fully formed, with no design evolution, no drafts, no rough studies. Just, here it is, a perfect temple for pumping water. Why? The Boston Public Library, McKim Building, opened in 1895, was declared a palace for the people, and it is one. With murals by Puvis de Chavannes, granite arches, Renaissance-style courtyards, and a vaulted entry hall that looks straight out of Florence. But here's the weird part. For a monumental building constructed during the era of widespread photography, there are almost no construction photos. The Library of Congress HABS survey has only a handful, all taken after major work was completed. The building appears in history mostly finished, like someone didn't want to document the messy part of creation. Standing across from the White House is the US Treasury Building, one of the largest granite structures in America. Records say construction took over 30 years, but here's the catch. Most of the surviving blueprints show only elevations and floor plans, not the detailed stone-cutting diagrams required for a structure with 36 massive Ionic columns, each weighing 30+ tons. National Archives holds the plans. They exist, but they don't explain the building. And that's the point. It's like someone filed the summary, but forgot to turn in the equations. Let's start with something harmless. The US Capitol. Official records say the original building, 1793 to 1826, cost $2.4 million in early 1800s currency. Adjusted today, roughly $60 to $70 million. $60 million for a structure with hand-carved Corinthian columns, marble staircases, stone balustrades, copper roofing miles of corridors, and an iron dome added later weighing 4 million pounds. Meanwhile, in 1800, Washington, D.C. had no quarries, no local stone industry, no steel foundries, and fewer than 3,000 residents. Source: Architect of the Capitol, U.S., Census 1800. So the story is simple. A tiny swamp town with barely any skilled labor built a neoclassical palace that Europe took centuries to perfect. Sure, why not? This is the part where I'm supposed to give you an answer, a conclusion, a theory. But I won't, because the buildings don't need a theory. They're already standing. Stone doesn't lie, paper does. Blueprints can be rewritten, budgets can be adjusted, names can be credited to the wrong people, but the architecture, it keeps the memory. It remembers. And when I walk through these halls, Capitol, Federal Hall, Boston Library, I don't see illusions of the past. I see something older wearing a newer date. Maybe they built it all from scratch. Maybe they inherited pieces of something left behind. All I'm saying is, in America, the buildings are solid, but the story around them is still under construction.